welcome to Catholic Crafts for Kids. I'm Tammy Kaiser and this is
Esther.
And we're here to make a Pentecost craft with you today. Now our Pentecost craft is right here, and you can see it's a mobile. And this beautiful craft you can hang in your porch, or what we always do with it is we stick it over our dining room table. And of course you can see that the dove represents the Holy Spirit, and these are the tongues of fire. I'm not really sure what tongues of fire looks like. I don't know that anybody does, but those are what our tongues of fire are going to look like. And just having that in your house will be a nice reminder that it is Pentecost. Now, the story of Pentecost in the Bible happens in Acts chapter 2, and it says, "When the day of Pentecost had come, they were all together in one place. And suddenly a sound came from heaven like the rush of a mighty wind, and it filled all the house where they were sitting. And there appeared to them tongues as if fire, distributed and resting on each one of them. And they were all filled with the Holy Spirit, and began to speak in other tongues, as the Spirit gave them utterance." So this is our Holy Spirit craft today, and we're going to show you how we do that. And as with all of our crafts, you are free to make the adaptations that you want. Be creative with these things. I know every time we do a craft, we do it differently, just to try out different things, and certainly we encourage you to do it the same way. But this particular one, we're going to do with paper plates, and you can use different kinds of paper plates. And also, you can also, we made ours like dimensional, but you can just have it be one dove and then hang these tongues of fires from it. On our website, CatholicFamilyCelebrations.com, under the Pentecost tab, there is a template that you can download so you can get this shape of the dove. But for those of you who want to be brave, and I certainly recommend that you do that, you can make your own template and your own pattern. Give it a try. You know, if it doesn't work, no big deal. Like for me, when I did it, I think I made like 5 or 6 to get it to work right. And I'm going to try to freehand one right here for you now. So take a regular size piece of paper. And of course you can use a scrap paper if you want, because you just need the dove to be in the middle. And then you need to figure out how big you need your dove to be. I'm going to make our dove go on the whole plate. So I'm just going to sketch just sort of a general outline of that plate, so that I know my dove needs to fit in that particular place there. And I folded the paper in half because you want your dove to be symmetrical. And I'm going to try to freehand a dove here. Wish me luck. I've got the beak, I've got the head, it comes in a little bit on the neck. And then we're going to spread out to these beautiful wings. I'm going to come down here to the bottom, and we're going to put a little thing in the tail. I don't really know if doves have a tail shape like this, but ours is going to. And then it's going to come in. You've got the body, and then you somehow have to round this out to meet the wings. So my pattern looks something like this, and then I'm going to cut this out. And in the meantime, while you're getting your dove ready to trace, you can be working on the tongues of fire. Now there's many ways you can do your tongues of fire. And today we are going to use watercolors because I like this sort of tie-dye kind of look. You could also use construction paper and cut out, you know, your fire to look like this. So you could have those from your dove. And of course, with all this, you can be substituting craft foam if you want it to be a little bit sturdier. But we've just got paper plate and just regular paper for our tongues of fire. So while I'm working on this, let's watch Esther as she makes the tongues of fire for us. So Esther's going to make her tongues of fire. So she's going to just put the yellow down first. And then she'll fill in with orange, and then finally the red. Now you probably are going to want to start your tongues of fire beforehand, because you'll kind of have to wait for them to dry to do it in between. And also we recommend that you do it on both sides, or you could double them up and fold them up. But I think what we will do is just do one side, and then we'll let it dry, and then we'll do another. So that's, you're going to put the red on there next.
Yes.
And that's 1 tongue of fire. And how many tongues of fire do we want on our mobile?
Let's do 7.
All right. The one that we made before also has 7 on it. Maybe thinking 7 gifts of the Holy Spirit. If you wanted like a lot of tongues of fire, you could put on as many as you wanted to make.
You turn it over and do the other side. You don't want to cut it out, or you might get paint on whatever table you're using.
And a lot of the color has already come through the paper because we use just regular printer paper. So you can still see what's going on. And remember, they don't have to be perfect. These are tongues of fire and fire changes, and you know, so that's the beauty of watercolors and the fact that we're making fire. So it's real easy. Anybody can do this. And then we'll wait a little while longer to let this dry. Perhaps you could stick it out in the sunshine, or do something and then come back to it. All right. In the meantime, while you're waiting for your flames on both sides to dry, you can start working on your dove. Now you made your pattern. And you don't like this well as the other one, but it's not bad. It'll work. I'm going to put it on my plate. Now, the one to make this dimensional, you are going to need 4 plates. And these plates are pretty thin, so it's not really too hard to cut through. If you didn't have paper plates, you could use a card stock. I don't think construction paper would be strong enough, and definitely not regular printer paper. So you need something a little bit stronger than that. So here, my dove's laid down here. And I'm going to trace it. Assemble these, we're going to put our strings on. Now, Esther, I thought for the video that perhaps we could use, maybe use ribbon, and then you could see it would show up a little bit better. I surprisingly use a fishing line a lot. I mean, this is really old. I swear I bought this probably over 10 years ago because you don't use very much of it. But you know, fishing line makes it look like it's invisible, and it's cheap. It's a little bit hard to work with it because it's so thin, but and strong. The fishing line is nice to use for this, but really any string that you have will work. If you've got pretty ribbon, I thought we should use the gold. I have some gold ribbon. You want to use the gold ribbon for this?
Yes, the gold always is pretty.
The gold is very pretty, so we're going to use gold ribbon. We got to take our 4 birds and we've got to fold them down the center. And you've got to fold them so they're sort of opposite of how the plate curves up. So you're going to fold them in this way. So see, the plate curves like this, but you want to fold them in the opposite way. And you can see why it's nice that they're symmetrical, because then they all line up. Mine's not perfectly symmetrical, but it won't matter. And then you're going to see this is how all these 4 are going to fit together to make sort of this sort of a dimensional kind of dove that's going to hang. And then you can put the flames from that. So while they're open and not together, before we glue them together, we're going to put the strings on. You only need 2 of them to put the strings on. I'll put these other 2 aside, and we're going to work with these 2. So now that you've got your doves, you only need to put the strings or the ribbons on 2 of them, because they're all going to be together.
Yeah.
And the one that goes right in the center is going to be the one that, and we got to make sure you do it on the right side. The side is actually not the fold side. It's going to be like the outside of the fold.
Yeah.
Which makes it a little bit harder to tape on because you don't have that little crease to put it in. So if it's going in that crease, that's not the right side. Because this side is going to be the side that's on the inside, so it will not be seen. If you do it on this side, it's no big deal. it just won't be, it'll be seen, and you don't want that, you don't want to necessarily see the taped string. So this is the side that we're going to hang it from, and this is the side where we're going to put some of the tongues. So you need about a yard for that piece there.
Yeah.
And I gave me plenty of room here to hang it from. Now the other doves, you're going to put, not on this side, we almost made that mistake again, but on the fold side, because that's going to be the side that's inside and not seen.
So, that's always the best way you could do it.
Yeah, it's a little long, so I'm going to trim it. So Esther, I guess you could be helping me with this. I know I'm going to let you glue the...
Yeah, glue them together.
Glue them together. And you know what you can be doing while I'm taping this?
What?
You should be cutting out
Okay, I will.
her fire.
I'll do it.
And she's going to cut, so here's her, she painted on both sides. And now she gets to make them look like tongues of fire. So you can go ahead and do that.
Where am I doing this? Because I can't see it.
You can't see it. You can do it right there beside me. People can see you cutting there while I'm putting the strings on my doves. So I've got 2 on this one and then 3 on the other. I'll put them all the same direction. That's easier like this, right? So this is the side that it hangs from. This is the side that the tongues of fire are going to go on. And I've got 1 more to put on. And these are about probably 18 inches is what I'll do.
Yeah.
Remember, you'll be able to trim them and get them the right length that you want when you go to put your tongues of fire on. Now, Esther, we have 7. Well, we actually painted 8. So we could use 8 or we could use 7, whatever we think. If we like one that we don't like as much, we cannot use it. Do we think there's more than 7 tongues of fire that showed up at Pentecost?
Probably.
And why do you think probably?
Because there are 12 disciples.
Yeah, there are 12 disciples. Probably they at least got a tongue, right? And there are other people there too, and we know Mary was there.
Probably Mary had one.
Yeah, would Mary get a tongue of fire because she's full of the Holy Spirit? I don't know.
I think she would.
Now we're ready to make our dove. The ones that have so these ones are going to make this part of it. And then our other ones we cut out are going to fill in this part. If you think about how it goes, that's going to help you know where to glue. So I'm setting it all up like that. It'll be like that.
Yeah, huh?
Now I'm going to glue the sides together. And
If you
where
do
did our glue
normal,
go? Oh yeah, the glue. Here's our glue.
normal school glue,
Alright, you wanna
you can use. I think hot glue would work, but
I don't know if I want to use hot glue. I mean, you could, I guess.
you could. But
Alright, so
I recommend using.
you want to help me
glue.
glue this so it don't take too long?
Yes.
Alright, so we are gluing.
Okay.
I want to do the round part of the wing.
Yeah.
You can just do the dove's body.
Then you might be able to stand it to let it dry. Like stand it.
I guess you could stand if you wanted to dry. Now, I didn't put glue on the wings because that makes them a little puffy. I mean, you could, if you wanted to glue these parts, you could.
But I think it looks better if you don't. And
There we go. Now it looks like we are ready
to glue
to put the tongues of fire on.
Woo!
Of course, if you wanted to wait for this glue to dry so you don't jeopardize it and worry about it falling apart, you could.
But
We're going to jump right into it. You could also use a staple in here too to hold these doves together. And here we have our Pentecost mobile. Thank you for joining us.
bye-bye!